Good afternoon. Welcome to the Midday Mull for Friday, the 4th of November. With Robert Murray McShane, we are reading through some of the Psalms. One of them we read today, Psalm 130. And the psalmist writes, "Out of the depths I cry to you, O Lord. O Lord, hear my voice. Let your ears be attentive to my cry for mercy." And I read that today thinking there's so many people who would pray to God out of the depths. And just in the course of today, we were busy praying for a young man who has an infection which won't clear up. And the doctors are now talking about quite some kind of surgical intervention. And there's another person I was hearing of today who is struggling with an addiction and wrestling to get their life back together and going through the mill. And then just had a message from another young couple who've just lost their baby mid-pregnancy. And there's just so much all around us where people are struggling and just in the depths. And like the psalmist says, out of the depths I cry to you. And if you read through Psalm 130, the psalmist cries out of the depths and then says a few verses later, I wait for the Lord. My soul waits, and in his word I put my hope. And the psalmist ends not having come right. It just says, I put my hope in God, encourages Israel, put your hope in God. He will redeem you. But at the moment, it's still a struggle. I'm still in the depths. It's not a Hollywood sort of Walt Disney, out of the depths I cried to the Lord, he heard my prayer, lifted me out of the depths, and we all lived happily ever after. Would that life was like that, but it's so often not. And the scriptures reflect that, and the Psalms reflect that. And here the psalmist says, out of the depths I cry to you. And that's an encouragement to us. When we are in the depths, to know this is not an unusual situation. There have been people that have experienced that for thousands of years. And each one of those people, God has been with them and God has helped them. And sometimes they have stayed in the depths for a long time, but it doesn't mean that God has abandoned them. It also means that when we find ourselves there, we can cry out to God with honesty. We don't pretend that things aren't bad. We don't have to pretend that things are going well. We can say, God, I am in the depths and I'm crying to you out of the depths. And I'll put my trust in you because of what your word says, even though I don't experience that at the moment myself, even though I don't see it in my life. I'll wait for the Lord. My soul waits. And in his word, I put my hope. So for those that are struggling, take courage. Call out to God. Be completely honest with God. And for those who are fortunate and not in that position, be gentle with those that are and be an encouragement to them. They don't need judgment. They don't need to be told to buck themselves up and look on the good side and all those other twee sayings that people have to try and make you feel better and just make you feel worse. We just say, be honest. Cry to God. He hears. That is a strength of our faith. That's what we have in his word, and that's what we stand on. Be blessed.